Hello YouTube, it's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we are talking 90 Day Hunt for Love, Season 1, Episode 8. The Boy Who Fell for Her, literally. So we just gonna get on right into it because we got a lot to discuss in this goofy episode. Yeah. So this episode basically picked up where we left off last week. Remember, we had all kind of commotion last week with an ambulance coming. We left off with Jen and Cole after a little therapy session for a couple for a non-exclusive couple that just only known each other for 10 days at their therapy session or whatever. And then there's a lot of commotion and we see an ambulance and somebody on a stretcher. Well, that person just happened to be Colt, basically. And Colt, apparently, what happened, and they mentioned this on Between the Sheets, Colt and Courtney were hanging out. I guess Colt came to her room where she went. Yeah, Colt went to her room. And remember, Courtney was supposed to get ready to go on a date with Usman and everything, but her and Colt just had a little morning breakfast and just chilling, whatever. And Colt said that, it was raining that day, and there was a ramp on in Courtney's room. Well, due to the rain and the ramp, he slipped and twisted his knee up, basically, and it looked bad. And he twisted the knee on the leg that he broke back a while back when he was still married to Vanessa. And like I said, it looked bad. So they had the paramedics come in and give him some shots, and he was just in excruciating pain. And the camera crew put the camera on his knee, and what it looked like, it looked bad. It was bad. We could say what we want from Cole, but you don't want to see anybody go through that and everything. So Courtney is hysterically crying. She felt like it was her fault and everything that he fell. It was not her fault. Accidents happen and stuff and everything. We know Courtney's been a little goofy throughout this whole season, but she did show a lot of compassion for Colt and everything. So they go out to the ambulance, and Courtney goes with Colt to the hospital. And they also decided, and they wanted, since it was an all-Spanish hospital, since Jen speaks Spanish, they had Jen go with them to translate and everything. So I thought that was nice of Jen to hop in the ambulance and go with them to the hospital and stuff. That's probably the nicest thing she's done I've ever seen her do, basically. So, they get to the hospital, I guess, and Courtney had said this on Between the Sheets, Colt was flirting with one of the nurses or one of the paramedics and everything. And, she's there crying over him and he flirting with somebody else. I'm like, come on, Colt, and whatever. So they actually had to go to 2 hospitals and everything, and Courtney went to both of them. Jen just went to one of them and everything. So they got him stabilized, and so far they have everything under control. Meanwhile, back at the resort, you got Tim and Tiffany basically and Rob talking, and then everybody got mad at Rob for not coming to check on Colt because remember the day before, Rob and Colt almost got into a fight because Colt was calling out Rob and Jen for their suspicious behavior. And Rob was just like, is he alive? Is he dead? And everything. And, everybody was mad at him about that. He was like, he got hurt. I almost hurt him yesterday. I don't want to be fake. I don't want to be fake since we almost got into it. But, everybody else said, yeah, we understand that. But, when something like this happens, you have to put all your BS aside and everything. And he was like, well, Cole don't want to see me and I don't want to see him and all that. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Be a good human being. I liked Rob, but I didn't like that. He should have just went over and at least see if he was okay and stuff and everything. But it is what it is. So meanwhile, after all of that's going on, the rest of the cast goes to this little cooking class or whatever. and they decided that they were going to do some aphrodisiacs, delicate seeds basically, and eat some like bugs, or they really called it figs and whatever. And it looked like everybody participated in that except for asexual Tim. Tim Tim is just not. He did not want to participate. He didn't. I'll agree. It did not look edible. Like I wouldn't want to eat it either. But I don't think with Tim, he made like a big fuss about it. I don't think it was just much of the edible of it. Like he was like, oh well, this ain't gonna get me to get excited or look, like get me excited or lick a girl's you know what and everything basically and everything. And like I've been saying this like the entire time. Everyone likes to think that Tim is gay. He's not gay, but I still think, and I stand corrected, that I think he's an asexual, meaning he has no sexual desires, basically. So, like, but on Between the Sheets, he likes to compliment Rob a lot about his looks and everything. I mean, like, if he wants people to stop calling him gay, like, a lot of people are going to give that when you do things like, say things like that, will think that you and everything. So, but I wish he would just come out and say that he's an asexual, meaning he has no, at this point in his life, don't really have that much sexual desires, because he was just like, man, I'm not really into this and all that, just being bland like he is. So yeah. So then, while they're at the class, and then Usman comes in. And Usman was like, well, where's Courtney? I've been trying to call her all morning and everything, and she's not answering. Well, Tim had to tell Courtney that about what happened with Colt. And at first, Usman was like, well, why was Colt in her room and everything? Why was she hanging out with Colt, basically? And, Tim was trying to explain everything and all that. And then he had the injury. Now Usman, he did say, "I'm sorry that this happened, but why was he in her room and everything? Like we were supposed to go on a date and stuff." So Usman's in the mindset of, well, I get it to an extent, but like his concern was just more about that than again Colt being okay. I mean, at least Usman acknowledged that Colt had an injury. That sucks. I don't want to see nobody get hurt like that, but still, I was Courtney in the room and all that. So he's questioning all that, and I'm just like, me personally, if that happened, like I get how he may feel, but I would just be like, okay, first let's just worry about Colt first, see if he's okay. Then once I find out he's okay, then I'll address the elephant in the room, basically. So Usman wasn't really happy about that. So anyway, now they decided that the group decided to have like just a girls' night out only and a boys' night out or night only. Basically, the girls and the boys separated for a night to go out and just have some fun and everything. Girls' night comes in girls' night. They're on the bus and they're just talking about the guys and everything, and they decided they get to where they have to be, and they go around the table and be like, and they ask, what is your sexual fantasy, basically, and what was the craziest thing that happened when you were intimate with somebody. Now, Elise said something Elise said that she was with a former NFL player. I would like to know who that was. I'm not going to say what happened with her and him, but she did mention that she was with a former NFL player, and Jen called that out as just like she really had to throw in that this person was a professional athlete. She really likes to brag. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. So then, now they're talking about their sexual fantasies, and the one that stood out to me was Jen's response. Jen said that she wants to be with a trans woman. So she wants, to have the best of both worlds. A person that has boobs and still has, the male part, basically. And she wants the best of both worlds at once. I'm like, okay, interesting. But, That's your preference. They even talked about the kiss with Chantel when they were doing those Olympics and stuff. She did say like she did felt like a good connection with Chantel during that kiss and everything. She was smiling at her and everything. And Chantel was just like, I hope nobody asks me about my sexuality right now because I'm still confused with my friend Ashley and everything. But Chantel also sit on Between the Sheets that night. And she said it before, too. I don't know if it was even that night either when they were out. But after the Olympics, Jen had invited Chantel to come over and everything. But Chantel denied. And then Jen got mad at Chantel and started calling her the B word and everything and stuff and everything. So I'm just like, I can't trust Jen. And we'll get to more Jen in a second. So they're doing that. Then we have guys' night out. And, you know, Rob, and now we've been seeing more of the singles now. And we finally get to see my man Jay. Rob, Jay, and Usman, the three black dudes in this resort, are at the bar. They see this like British black girl and everything, and I was a little surprised because them girls looked African. I mean, they're probably African descendant, obviously, but they didn't look like, so I could tell with some of the people and where they're from, and they didn't even sound British, but they said that they were from London. Rob goes up to this girl and says, "Man, I don't know about you British girls. I was married to one and didn't go well." So then Rob, Jay, and Usman are talking, and Usman asks Rob, "Did you like that black girl and everything?" And he was like, "No, not my type and everything. But what about you?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, and Usman made a point that he likes a big, you know, rear end, basically. And he called that girl's rear end a carrot, basically. And then he was just like, you know, if you ever seen like Courtney's rear end, it's really big and stuff. So, you know, Usman likes the big butts, basically. So after that, Rob decided to like stir the pot a little bit. Well, not really stir the pot, but like try to release the tension off of him, the pressure off of him. He was like, "So, since everybody's been worried about me, Jen, and Cole, like there's another like couple or thing going on here that we need to discuss." And that's with who Tiffany's been liking. So Tiffany, remember, has been with Carlo. She has a thing for Rocky. And then last week, Jay asked her out and everything. So I'm going to come back to that conversation and head back to the girls' night out. So back to the girls' night out, you know, after they're playing sexual fantasies or whatever, Tiffany and Elise want to talk to Jen, and are starting to call out Jen again to see like what's like really going on and stuff, basically. And I'm just like, really, like, let it go, basically. So apparently there's another rumor that's starting out. Elise said that there was a rumor going on that like she and Rob were intimate when that wasn't the case. Now apparently there's been another rumor saying that morning Elise and Rob were in the same room together and everything. So Elise is like, Elise is frustrated because people are they're slandering her name and stuff. You know, I'll admit that she's been acting a little weird ever since her and Rob did not work out, but I believe Elise that she has not been in any kind of like connection with Rob after day 2 and 3, basically. So like she asked Jen, like, okay, where's this rumor coming from? And Jen at first wouldn't say. So now Tiffany is calling out Jen, like on like playing with Cole's feelings and everything. Jen claims that Cole is still controlling and everything. He's showing up at her room at 4 a.m. Now Cole says it's 6 a.m., but regardless, it's still early in the morning and stuff and everything. And he gives me like possessive behavior. Tiffany is just like, then why are you stringing him along? If I'm dating somebody and they're showing me like that kind of behavior, I'm not gonna be dating that person. Then why are you stringing him along? And why are you like hiding it and being fishy about it, basically, and everything. And then Jen just started getting mad. She's like, girl, you need to put some boundaries and everything and all that. And Elise is like, you're like playing with the bait, you're hooking it or something like that, some stupid stuff like that. But then Elise is like, I'm going to give you one chance to say this. Where is this rumor coming from? Either you're going to admit it because you don't want to deal with the drama, or you're going to tell me who it is and we're going to confront them and everything. Where did this rumor come that I was in Rob's room this morning? And she said that Cole told her that. So it was Cole. So, okay, we're going to confront Cole, basically, and everything. And, you know, I really don't know who to believe. Part of me can actually believe it because, you know, Cole don't really like Rob and just may try to sabotage the whole thing. But Jen always be lying too on things. So like, it's just a whole bunch of lies, and it just questions their integrity. Like, I don't like Rob is the real victim out of this love triangle, because even though he should be honest, but at the same time, it's still none of their business and everything. So Elise is upset about it. So next week, judging by the preview, she's going to confront Cole on it and everything. But I wouldn't be surprised if that rumor is true and everything. Now, also in the previews, they're showing that Tiffany might be starting stuff, and you know, we've been saying that Tiffany's been a little bit like way too much involved in like stirring the pot a little bit more and everything. And I think at the end it might have even been Tiffany who probably at the end of the day started that rumor. Because why is she so invested, or like nitpicking every little thing that goes on with them three? I don't know. So it's just a whole bunch of mess. But speaking of Tiffany, let's go back to boys' night. So boys' night happens, and you know, like I said, Rob said that he wants, like, what's going on with Tiffany? Like, she's got 3 guys. She's got Carlo, Rocky, and now Jay. So, like I said, last week, Jay asked Tiffany out. You know, Tiffany's been like back and forth with Carlo and Rocky, mostly Carlo. Carlo a few weeks ago said that he wasn't sure he wanted to be with Tiffany because of her having kids and stuff. So apparently Jay, when he asked Tiffany out, he had a man-to-man conversation with Carlo and said like, hey, can I take Tiffany out? And Carlo, and I guess at the time Carlo was cool with it. Basically, like Jay did he said he did the adult thing. Like I said, like, can I take Tiffany out? And he was cool with it. So then, like at the bar, Carla is now like upset about it and everything. He like runs up on Jay, be like, dude, calls him the B word and calls him a snake, and say, you knew I liked her. I never heard from you this whole time, and you're going to go after the girl I'm with. I'm like, what? What? Like, Carlo, you say you weren't, you've been, and by the way, Elise has been saying you've been going to her room and like crying and everything, saying like you wanted Tiffany to find somebody else so you don't have to deal with it because she has kids. And now that the black man is stepping up on her and wants to take her on a date, now after you said it was okay, now you mad because you got a little liquor in you and she's not there. And so, like, Jay tried to defend himself. He was like, dude, I came to you. Like, I have to be your friend? Because Carla is mad because, like, Jay never really spoke to him up until that point, basically. And they never really had, like a real, like, conversation at that point, like, and everything. So, but still, that doesn't matter. Like, Rob said it best on Between the Sheets. He was like, that's competition. You don't have to be friends with the competition, basically. So Jay, at this point, he was like, at this point, lower your voice with me when you speak to me and everything. And then all of a sudden, Jay starts pushing Carlo and everything. And then everybody had to be separated and everything. And we left off with the cliffhanger on that. So this episode was just unnecessary drama. It's all unnecessary. unnecessary drama. Like Tiffany needs to like really like back away, like chill and everything. Quit worrying about Rob and Jen, where she's got three guys. She's worried about Rob and Jen and Cole, but she's got three guys now after her, and two of them are literally fighting, about to fight over her and stuff and everything. So she needs to just like worry about her own self and everything. Again, we're going to be praying for Colt. I mean, I think Colt's fine, obviously, at this point, but that's just something Jen said that when she came back from the hospital, she was like, that's just something you just do not want to see and everything. But, you know, and as for Jen, she needs to, like, she really thinks she's hot stuff and everything, and she's not. Yes, she's beautiful on the outside, but I've been saying it all season, she is not beautiful on the inside. Not beautiful at all. And so, like, I don't know. So, yeah, next week, I think everybody's going to confront Cole, and even somebody's probably going to confront Tiffany and everything. And, you know, Chantel's going to be saying something, whatever. So, yeah, this is crazy. You know, I'm glad we're seeing more of the singles. I'm glad we're finally starting to see more of the singles. I wish we'd see a little bit more instead of this stupid 90-day drama and everything. Carla had said on Between the Sheets that that the singles, the non-90-dayers, do have a group chat going on. And I guess the J guy is the leader of that. He'll say, like, he'll give, like, positive messages and saying, watch your back and stuff, trust no one, but then he goes around and does that. Y'all all are there to date people, date everybody and everything. Like, I don't know why Carlo and Jay feel so entitled that they're locked in one girl, that they're married to one girl and stuff. Especially Carlo, the audacity. You say he didn't want Tiffany because she has kids. Now that somebody else is after her, now you mad after you even gave approval. What the heck is wrong with you? And everything. So I don't get people. I don't get people like that. That happened to me before. I was talking to somebody, and they we were talking for a couple months. I didn't ask this person to be my girlfriend, but I asked, is there potential? And she said, yeah, potential and everything. But I took it slow, wanted to wait and wait it out. One day she says she's not really looking for a relationship right now, and there's still some leftover trauma from some past relationships. And I was like, I understand that. 2 weeks later, that person starts dating somebody else and everything. I'm like, you're dating somebody. Okay, what changed your mind? Oh, he's nice. Okay, whatever. I didn't fight it. Then I started talking to somebody else. I started talking to my current girlfriend now of almost 2 years. And we start dating. The last girl finds out I'm dating somebody now. Now she's mad. She's like, you got a girlfriend now? I'm like, yeah, well, you have a boyfriend. And she was like, yeah, well, I was still trying to hang out with you. I'm like, then why'd you tell me? If you're still trying to hang out with me, then why did you like tell me that don't want a relationship, and then 2 weeks later start dating somebody? You're dating somebody, and now you're mad. And now you're mad that I'm dating somebody. Like, it doesn't make sense. So like I digress back to the Carlo and Tiffany thing. Carlo didn't really want Tiffany, and he's telling Elise that he wants her to find somebody else, and then she does, and then now he wants to fight the dude. Like y'all, like Cole and Carlo. I liked Carlo, but I just lost a lot of respect for him. I never really liked Cole. Cole is just too possessive and everything. So them dudes in the reality check, they need to check themselves, both of them. But yeah, that was this crazy episode. Anyway, guys, that is it from this episode. Yeah, it was crazy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Again, thank you to all my new subscribers for being there. We're almost at 100 subscribers, so I need 8 more people to subscribe to this channel. It is free, you guys. I will be doing some more content. I'm actually going to come back later this week to do the first 3 episodes of 90 Day UK. The only reason, like I said last night, the only reason why I didn't do 90 Day UK before is because like their editing is like all over the place compared to the USA version. basically. So, but I'm going to try to do 90 days since our channel's growing. I need to put up more content. So I'm going to do 90 Day UK Season 4 later this week. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys later this week. Bye, y'all.